The arrogance of this administration is amazing. On one hand, the president says we've got to be fiscally responsible, even though people are hurting. We can't keep spending. We've got to freeze spending. Here's the one hand.
It's hard to be fiscally responsible when we have all these human needs and we're inheriting enormous deficits and debt, but that's a sacrifice that we're going to have to make. Families across the country are tightening their belts.
Yes.
And making tough decisions. The federal government should do the same.
People are like, yes! But then he goes to the other hand. And here's what the other hand is saying.
I want to spend $1 billion. Oh, scratch that. $1 trillion on health care.
We're not idiots. We're not buying the hand. Got it? He treats health care as if it's somehow or another separate from spending. This one's free. We're getting the money from a money tree. Then he realizes too late, gosh, that money tree doesn't exist. I don't care how many new taxes you conjure up to make it deficit neutral. Spoiler alert, it's going to cost you money. Otherwise, it wouldn't say the word tax 35 times on just what they've posted on the internet. You see, this adventure doesn't end well economically. No. And the president knows it. Yeah, he does. How do I know he knows? Oh, it's easy. This is his signature piece of legislation, right? This is the guy, I mean, this is the most important thing we can do. And this is the guy who's not exactly camera shy. I mean, anybody pulls out a camera, he's there ready to break out a speech. In fact, he's always at the podium. He's always on prompter. 16 American flags always ready to go right behind him. I mean, it's pretty spectacular. Where was he today on the issue? Oh, I don't know. That was, I don't have that answer. No, I don't know. The first attempt of his signature health care plan drafted by Pelosi. I'm just letting Nancy Pelosi draft it. The second one was, I'm just letting Harry Reid draft it. Yeah. This one, I don't know who drafted it, but it's up there on the internet. Yeah, you'll have to read through it. I don't know if you'll understand it, which is weird, because I thought he said that America didn't support health care because he didn't explain it enough. Wow, if you're going to launch your signature program and it's yours this time, you'd think that you'd explain it with a speech or something. Here is why the president doesn't want his fingerprints on this. He doesn't want any videotape at all of him endorsing his own package. Because A, it destroys health care as we know it. B, it will raise taxes. C, it will usurp state rights. D, through spending and expansion of new government offices, it will give government more power and control than they could possibly ever imagine. And he's asking the Republicans to come with an open mind on Thursday. Open mind. Does that mean you're going to saw through the brain and just open it up like, I mean, how much of an open mind do you have to have if you're a fiscal conservative to agree with this when this plan broadens the tax base for high-income taxpayers, orders a comprehensive database on health claims, which that sounds good. That doesn't sound like there's any more red tape for our doctors there. It'll make you, well, if you choose not to become insured, to pay more. Eventually, you're not going to really have a choice, but right now, it's progress, baby steps. And then the funds will be transferred to the Social Security Trust Fund if necessary. What does that mean, exactly? And they're calling this bill a compromise. So we got all the Republicans in and they compromised on this, or no. And they didn't compromise with the American people who are 58% against this, no. And the Republicans they don't even really need. This is a compromise between the Democrats and the Democrats. That's who he's bringing together. I'm reaching all the way to the end of the aisle and bringing everybody together. It's like a far-left smorgasbord. The president wants to enact more regulation to fight increases in reacting to the nearly 30% rate increase in California. Okay. That's high. I know, because I think it was last year or the year before, as a small businessman, my insurance increase for the premiums that I pay as a company was 47%. Yeah. Now, his plan proposes more power to go to the federal government to block excessive rate increases by those evil health insurance companies. Wow, that's great. I mean, who doesn't want cheaper health care? I know I do as a small business owner, because I think it was like 47% last year or the year before, and this year they're going to go up again, I was just told. That's great. But price controls and more government regulation, really not the solution. The solution is deregulating. Let me buy health care across state lines. I'm in New York. Let me buy it from New Jersey. Hey, if there's a great idea in California or Texas, let me buy it there. No, 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 says the federal government. Price controls. Well, gee, if I were just born today, which I wasn't, I might think price controls work. But since we know a little something called history, we can look into price controls. The NRA, not to be confused with the rifle people. This is from 1933. I love this. This is when FDR tried price controls through the National Recovery Administration. We do our part. This is on the windows of every business, and what it said was, you can do business here because they're American. They said, look for the Blue Eagle. If you don't see it, why don't they like America? What it meant was, they're not going to charge you a penny over what the federal government said they could charge. Yeah, it didn't work. Oh, and the Supreme Court thought it was unconstitutional, so... But in the meantime, they ended up cracking down on small business owners just trying to stay afloat. My favorite story is when, prices were so low, prices inflated to more than anyone was allowed to charge. They even put an immigrant dry cleaner in jail for charging 35 cents to press a suit when the federal government demanded a minimum price of 40 cents. Didn't work. How about 1971? Let's try the price controls of Nixon. Here's a good guy, huh? He imposed wage and price controls to stop inflation. We'll just have the government regulate everything. It was called the New Economic Policy. It worked so well. It was only supposed to last 90 days, but they just kept trying it and trying it and trying it for 1,000 days. And in the end, it became pretty clear, monumental failure, as inflation rates went from 4% in 1973 to 9% the next year. Jimmy Carter also tried to control inflation by capping salary hikes. Quote, excuse me, let me get the peanut out from beneath my teeth. Except for our lowest paid workers, all I'm asking is for employees in this country to limit total wage increases to a maximum of 7% per year. From tonight on, every contract signed and every pay raise granted should meet this standard. How great, capping your salary. And we all know how Carter's presidency ended.